Okay, so do we want to introduce the characters to the people that are watching and go around that way?
Sure. I will start. I'm
Okay.
Justin, and I play Ryan.
Okay, and then uh, Charles.
Oh,
Okay,
Justin, you muted?
sorry.
I'm sorry, was that me?
That's
Yeah.
you.
Okay, hi. I'm Charles Lipper. I play Levi.
Okay. And then we have Natalie.
Yes, hi, I play Nurse Jane Johns.
Okay, and then we have Dan.
I am Dan Barry. I played Dr. Orbidian.
Okay, and then we have Chris Stinson.
That's me, and I play the quartermaster.
Alrighty. Justin, why don't you give us a little backstory of how this all came together?
Okay. EOS 10 is just an idea that I've had for a long time. I've had the idea behind the show for a very long time, but I usually do short films or theater. But the concept seemed a little expensive to produce in those ways, so I decided it would make the perfect radio play. So about February of last year, I started writing. We cast over the summer, and then we started recording August? I can't remember when we started recording, but it wasn't too long ago.
Okay, what specifically did you look for when you were casting? How is it different than casting theater and casting a radio show?
It's pretty different. I mean, I know most people when they think of voice acting is, you sit down, you record, you read a script, and you go home and you're done, drink some water, but it's really very difficult to create a fully realized character when all you have is your voice. So I was looking for really strong vocal quality in the actors. We'll hear from Charles later, but I know his voice is not his normal voice. Same with Dan. Natalie and I are lucky we get to use our normal voices. I think Chris used his as well. But yeah, and then plus on top of that, just the normal things you look for in actors, just that they get the characters. And I think each of these guys, it was kind of almost a first read, kind of like they are this person, this character.
And you had the cast all assembled, and you had a table read. Is that correct? With everybody in the room.
Yeah, we only actually read it together once with everyone, and then most of the guest stars, including Chris, never had the benefit of reading with the rest of the cast. So, and then everyone went their separate ways and recorded their parts separately.
And for the cast, how was that for you? Because I know a lot of you are stage people, and you're very used to having a rehearsal with somebody right there with a give and a take, and you can change your inflection, whatever they throw at you. Nobody's throwing anything at you. How do you do that?
I know for me, one of the things that made it a lot easier is I recorded with Justin, so it was made a lot easier by that because he was in the room with me, so there was a lot of give and take, and most of my lines are directly reacting off of him. So I think I had it easy there, but the table read too got you get an idea of what it is, but you don't get the. It's definitely a different experience, but I think Justin did an incredible job of getting people that not only get the characters but mesh well as an ensemble.
I agree with that, and I can speak to this was my first voiceover project ever, so it was a completely new experience in tackling all these new challenges. And I also had the benefit of recording most of my dialogue with Justin, so I could work off of him very easily. But it is bizarre because you kind of record it in a vacuum, and then hearing it broadcast, it's the first time you're actually hearing it from the table read. So it's like a whole new story that you hear, and it was very different going in and jumping ahead a couple pages into a whole new scene and starting right away. I mean, you do have the luxury of trying different takes if something didn't feel right or Justin would sometimes just ask us to play, which is always super fun as an actor to get to do that. So it was very new and new sort of challenges, but I think that it's a testament to the editing, just how it all really weaves in together and sounds like we're all in the same world, definitely.
I just tortured Justin and recorded each line 20 different ways. One of them had to be right.
Right. Yeah, that's.
Justin, so you have all these voices, you're bringing them together. How did you edit to make it sound like this was all part of the same world?
Yeah, the editing takes.
It was a piece of cake, right?
Especially Charles. Anytime a Levi scene comes up, I'm like, God.
You're welcome.
No, definitely. I mean, in a way that really, as the writer behind it, that really lets me shape. I mean, and they did an amazing job. I mean, making it sound really is not as much work in that end as you would think, because they just read it how it was written, so it just kind of worked. But I do get to play with, which I think helps actually initially. Anyway.
Okay, so
Yeah, it was a unique experience being in there, being several episodes ahead of a very interesting story, an interweaving story, but getting a look at Justin's script, you could tell that things in the story were coming to a head, and there was already a lot of interesting backstory. The lines had a lot of had a story to them that I was very intrigued to find out about. So even though I'm not really allowed to talk about it, Justin, I still very much enjoyed it, and I think it's a thing for doing something like just like Natalie. This was the first time me doing sort of a voiceover, a dramatic voiceover project, and having Justin in the room was a big help, especially when it's very much an out-of-body kind of experience when you're doing it. Having the guy that knows all the intricacies in the web of the story really makes your job easier as well, I think.
So Justin, tell us about this world. Tell us about this world that you've created, and as much as you can, I guess, without spoilers.
Maybe one.
Sure. So I guess we were talking earlier, Chris, in fact, who mentioned that scrubs in space.
And I stand.
Never actually seen scrubs, so I'll go with
that is the
as
elevator
well.
pitch.
So there are two doctors. Plays the other one, and Dan, actually, character much older than himself.
I'm
And
73.
I am sent to the.
You look great.
Yeah,
man.
you're old.
Homeopathy, man.
My character is sent to this mission to kind of look after Dan's character is so much an alcoholic. So he's kind of there to get him in shape. And then we are joined, of course, by Lee's character, who is a little bit of a psychic side. Would you say that's exact, Natalie? Just
You actually
maybe.
cut out, so I'll say
Yep.
yes. But I didn't.
Okay.
Yeah, Justin, you are breaking up just a little bit. If you want to adjust your microphone, if you can.
Let's see.
Right on the editing room floor. And we're good.
And then we were also joined by Charles's character, Levi, who is actually an alien, and he's a deposed prince who ended up on the station seeking asylum. And he's a bit of a jack, which is how he ends up interacting with the rest of us quite a lot. And then characters coming in, we haven't met him about him. So people who've listened have heard about him, that he's going to.
Showing up soon.
Yes.
So this season is 10 episodes. Are we looking at a second season already? Is there a plan for that?
Yeah, we're actually only 8 episodes this season, but we have actually started working on some new episodes for season 2. I don't know exactly when that will come about, but the exciting news is I will not be the sole writer next season. There are 2 others joining me, especially any people in the area will know them, and will know sooner than later, I hope. But they're awesome, so I'm really excited about what we can do next season.
Now, is next season also going to be 8 episodes, or maybe expanding it depending on how how it's received?
I would love to do 10 to 12 next season. Yeah, editing is an awful lot of work. I would actually like to change the production so that we have the chance to record together. And if that's possible, then we might see more episodes next season than we have this season.
And what has the reaction been so far for season 1?
Surprisingly good, and people are finding done a good job. As I was on Tumblr, and one of our very cast members, she's not listening, she's is on Tumblr, and she had a lot of her fans who were drawing pictures. They're making fan art, drawing the characters, and I was like, that's pretty awesome. So yeah, I had pink hair, and I was like, yes, we will go with that. Dr. Dalius has pink hair. But
Yes, I'm all for pink hair. I'm a big fan of pink hair. So for the rest of the cast, how does it feel? Why do you think there is this kind of resurgence lately for podcast and radio show style shows? I know NPR is doing Serial. There's a bunch of others that are coming out, that have been out. What do you think is the appeal for people out there? I have to go the cold memory side.
Personally, I think personally it's just part of the mobile life that we all live now, and we are. The great thing about podcasts is that you can obviously wherever you go. Audiobooks have a resurgence. You don't have to be sitting down anywhere to sit still to read something or listen to a story. And also with podcasts, it can get as specific as you want. I mean, if you are really interested in sci-fi radio plays, I mean, boy, do we got you covered, and there's a market for anything really out there, and I think it's just a really fascinating thing that you can connect with people in an audio platform with all of the special effects and everything we have going on, and movies and TV, that it's still just the spoken word, just people talking to each other. The theater of the mind of old-timey radio really hasn't gone away. I think it's really great that people are willing to click out and have a world brought to them just through audio, nothing visual at all. And it's a great challenge as an actor to do it, because you're used to using other parts of your body to tell a story. But I think the podcast part is a great platform. I think there needs to be more podcasts that have a dramatic narrative to them. I think it's rare to find one that's as good as ours. So.
I'm not so sure about to comment on a resurgence in trends, because I'm never been very good with following fashions. I know for myself it's refreshing that it's almost the inverse of where television is going, where television follows is so much reality TV, where you just find the next idiot and put them on TV and wait for them to say something. And here we have these great writers that are crafting these wonderful stories and creating really deep characters. Instead, I don't think anyone would listen to a Kardashian podcast.
Says you.
Yeah,
Who wouldn't?
It might break the internet again, right?
Yeah. I know for me, I mean, I'm an NPR junkie, and I love hearing interesting things. I spend a lot of time in my car, so it's something I can it's 20 minutes that I'm in. Another thing is I'm in the show, and it's one of the things that I put on, my social media stuff. That one of the reasons I keep posting about this is not because I'm in it so much, it's because I'm a huge fan of the show. And I think like was maybe that and one of the other episodes are ones that I'm not in as much. I'm like knocked out for 75% of the episodes, but it's one of my favorites regardless because of the writing and stuff, and it's the one one of the ones I was telling people, I'm like, you have to hear this. Like, I'm not in it. It's amazing. So for me, I think it's I love hearing podcasts that have great writing, and not that there's not stuff on TV, but it's great to see it's going in that direction.
I had a 3-hour car ride last week, and I binge listened to EOS 10. It was a great experience, and I just like variety. I like my waves of music, and then I'll get sick of that, and I'll switch over to some stand-up comedy. And this is just another awesome alternative of a creative way to spend my time enjoying entertainment.
Yeah, it's just feeding and engaging your brain rather than just binging your eyes, and that's where I latch onto it, at least.
Yeah, I would love to see. I think it's been fascinating to see the fan art that's come out of this. Seeing that people have purple hair or all these crazy things. Because when you close your eyes and you listen, you hear the humming of the station, and you hear the little squeaking noise of the wheels of the carts and all these different things, all these tiny little human noises that we, life noises that we just don't take for granted in real life. And if we put it in a podcast, they're significant, and it builds the world. And I would love to see people's design of what they think the spaceship looks like, and all the different people, just the world. I mean, it's the ever-present humming, I think, very much keeps you in that world, because that's the life of these characters. And when it's true to those characters, I think people respond to that.
Now, how hard was it to create these characters just with using your voice?
The writing was so good. I mean, I drew to Levi immediately. As soon as I saw the audition script, I knew. I don't know if I knew exactly what Justin wanted, but I knew what I wanted to bring to it. Yeah, total testament to the writing that it just made it that much easier to get into character.
I'd say the prompt that I got when I auditioned was Ian McKellen or a Patrick Stewartish character, and I was talking with Justin and Chris before this and mentioned that my wife and I do Ian McKellen from Extras, that his episode on there, around the house, and I'll do it kind of just a line or two here or there just to make my wife laugh. And but the more I did it, the more I actually put in. I have a friend of mine growing up who was a South African. His dad was a South African doctor, and he was an interesting guy. And I would do things like I would leave messages on their answering machine as his father. Daddy will be home approximately 600 hours. You and your friends.
Oh, they must have loved you.
That's ridiculous.
Invite you over all the time, yeah.
Yeah, especially when they. And my favorite thing about him is if he met people from like, he'd be like, so where in the United States from? He'd be like, oh, I'm from Minnesota. No, that's a made-up place. Where are you from? So he was just a fun that I did more just to annoy my friend. My dad doesn't sound anything like that. And we always said his dad was drunk, but I don't think he ever was. But yeah, for the character broadly is right there on the page. It's done so well that really it was just some mannerisms and some speech patterns to add to it. But I mean, when you start with something that you respect and enjoy so much, it comes naturally. And I would find myself in the car just thinking about like different ways to, to deliver some of the lines, and then I realized that I would look at the script again and be like, my initial thought was right because it's right there on the page. But it was fun, and my real annoyance was that it was a really quick recording session, and it almost like we're over, we're done, and so I'm pretty psyched if there's a second season.
Okay, I'm going to ask this of each of the cast members, and Natalie, we'll start with you. What has been your favorite moment so far in this whole process?
Oh, anything with penises. That's so bad out of context. But,
Oh my lord.
but no, the Up, Up, Up episode was my absolute favorite. Because it just lets your mind run wild. I mean, we're introduced to these characters, so you already have an idea of who they are, and then just putting them in a ridiculous situation like that was just pure joy. So I think so far, from what's been aired, that's my favorite, definitely.
Great. Charles?
I'm sorry, I missed the question.
What has been your favorite moment so far? And if it involves penises, that's even better.
Moments. Oh, I really enjoyed the latest episode, Anti-Vax. Just the whole episode. Again, I think that was Dan's favorite too, right, Dan? It's just a collection of good moments. But I mean, again, when I listened to the whole series in my car, there were many laugh out loud moments, and I wish I could name them all now.
No spoilers, no spoilers. Chris, your name has popped up.
Yes.
Favorite penis
I
or
would
no
say-
penis?
So,
Favorite moment, penis or no penis?
well, see, she stole my thunder. That's the episode I was gonna say. I laughed so hard during that one. When you're on the metro, you're usually not the only person sitting there looking weird, laughing to themselves. But listening to that, I was that guy. Certainly on my train car. I think that for all of the humor, which is wonderful, I think what was a surprising moment, at least as a listener, because I can't really get into too much about the other stuff. But as a listener, I found it really interesting that there were these really beautiful, sort of sensitive moments that took place between the two doctors, about addiction and all the things they went through. It kind of came on as a bit of a surprise, thinking it was just but I know Justin has a lot more substance than just penis jokes after another, one after another. But it was really nice that these were real people. They weren't just instruments for humor. They were real people, and I think that really came through. And I enjoyed recording my session, and I can't wait to listen to the whole thing, enter that world after Thanksgiving. So I can't wait for that.
Who is next? We have
Yeah.
Dan or Justin, either one.
I'll agree that some of the more sensitive, I guess is a good word, moments with Dr. Dalius and Dr. Ervidian, because I like that throughout the show, it's not where you expected it to go, and it's so well done. And some of the stuff with addiction, I've in my life and through family and friends have a lot of experience dealing with that and recovery. And though it's a fictional universe, and I don't know what Justin's exact goals and experiences with this. You don't have to get everything right. It's like people are talking about Interstellar and whether they got the science right, but it's a movie. If they use a doorknob that a spaceship wouldn't use because of the gravitational pull of Venus on, it doesn't matter. But
That's your next episode, Justin, right there.
yeah,
Very well,
the
you open
doorknob.
the doorknob, everything blows apart.
Yeah, but whether or not, I mean, the whole thing about a lot of recovery is that it's one addict helping another, and that's really what the core of that relationship is. It's Dr. Dalius helping out Dr. Ervidian by just being there and offering his support, which I think there were some moments that were really beautiful there, and also the penis jokes. Those were good, but it's funny that every episode I'm like, yeah, this one coming up is my favorite episode. And I was like, oh wait, no, it's the next one is even better, so that one was my favorite episode. So there's it. It was really fun to read the script and then be a part of it. I also like Levi blowing up a ship.
Yeah, that was crazy. Yeah, he's got a little danger to him.
A little.
Just a little. Just a little.
Okay, and for season 2, anything we can tease? Anything that we can throw out there to get the listeners to come back for season 2? To kind of dangle the little carrot in front of us?
Well, I know people. Tim Torrey is not with us tonight. He's also in rehearsal. He plays Akmazian, who sounds a little bit like George Bush occasionally, as we were discussing earlier.
Just a little.
And we're going to see more of him. I think people have already been asking if he'll be back, and he will definitely be back. I'm kind of excited Jane plays a much bigger role in the episode that's coming up this week that I just heard today, and I'm really excited about that. So I'm really excited to see where she goes next season too, because I think, and this is my fault, I think maybe she was a little underutilized this season as I'm listening to the show. So
As he logs off, yeah.
Chris has been asking for a spin-off for his character that we haven't even met yet. I don't know that that's going to happen.
I don't think it's too much to ask for, personally.
Yeah, but the writers and I are going to be meeting very soon to kind of break that down. And I'm really excited to see. I'm especially excited now that we know these characters well enough. We can really do some fun stuff. We don't have to spend as much time introducing them. We can really kind of dig in and see just who they are at this point.
Great. We are at 8:30. Any other things you want to tell us or share with us, or any other little moments that you didn't expect to happen on this journey that you discovered?
Yeah, there's one thing I wanted to throw out there. It's funny, I think, Natalie and Charles, I think, came into this and were so much of what I pictured. I think they just kind of nailed these characters. And I think the funny thing about Dan, and the reason that I love what he does so much with his character, is he will sometimes do the exact opposite of what I expect in his delivery. And it just works so well that I'm just like, yes, that is so much better than what I did or what I would have done with it. So, yeah, I think they've all surprised me on one level or another. And it's just been kind of nice to see them take these characters and make them their own. So, and I think that's why it works so well. I mean, they say a lot about the writing, but writing is one thing, but it's them that makes it come alive. So, great cast. I love them.
I think one of my favorite things is actually coming up in the 8th episode, and I won't spoil it, but Justin had written 7 of the episodes, and he had this. He left us with the 7, and so I was waiting for the 8th. I was like fiending for the 8th episode, and I was so happy to find out that there was an 8th episode to read, and so I had these crazy ideas of what could happen in the 8th episode, and he hit me with it, and I was like, again, this is so much better than anything I would have thought of, and it's amazing. And it's so perfect for the world that he created and the characters that he created that I think, I don't know, it's like wrapped up so perfectly that I'm so excited that even the prospect of a season 2 is pretty awesome.
Hear, hear.
Yeah. The response has been awesome. It's been great to just see people really enjoying it. I'm proud of you, Justin. It's great. It's great. It's great stuff. It's very cool.
I think that is all the questions for tonight. Thank you all for coming out and hanging out with the cast of EOS 10 for a Google Hangout.
Thank
And
you, guys.
hopefully this will not be the last one we do. This was very fun.
Yeah,
That's great.
definitely. Thanks, guys.
And
Bye.
this is season 2.